Here we are with another Friday morning live, August 15th, 2025. I forgot to turn sound on again. Yeah, Joyce. Yeah, let's see if we can get a sound check. Let's see if it works. Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Make sure the sound's working. Got the sound on again. All right. Away we go. Got lots of turmoil around the planet. War pigs is going at it as usual. Nothing ever good comes out of war. People got to carry the turmoil, the trauma for the rest of their lives that survive these horrific events. You know, we've learned from the past that we haven't learned anything because we continue to do the same things over and over. And there's no difference in our lifestyle choices. You know, being sick, tired, misery, pain. And and we continue to do the same things over and over and over again, right? We're not willing to make the changes. But we want changes to happen. No. Everything is energy. And the law of cause and effect cannot be escaped. You know, there's the giving and receiving energy. We must give to receive. So, you know, all the things that we do to hurt people is we're taking. So if we're taking, we're going to have things being taken from us as far as energy is concerned. Energy, energy, energy. Everything is energy. There's nothing but energy. Atoms. The world is, the universe is made up of atoms, and probably you can go on a sub level below that. You know, who knows how many universes within the atom. You know, it's ever expanding in all directions, inwards, outwards, and all directions. And the little we know, the little understanding we have, we believe we have all the answers on this planet. You know, looking in a microscope or a telescope, we figured it out. We figured out squat. We figured out squat. You know. Can the body live on stimulants? Absolutely, the body can live on stimulants at a cost. The law of cause and effect, we cannot escape. There's a cost to everything, a price. And people are willing to pay those prices. And then they complain and bitch and moan when they have to pay those prices, right? This is the way mankind has been living for thousands of years. Thousands of years. So we must we must be willing to understand the consequences of every single action we do in our lifestyle. You know, our lifestyle is all the things we think about, all the things we do physically. All these things have an effect on the outcome. Environments dictate outcome. We sound like a broken record because repetition is the mother of skill. If we don't keep repeating the things we want to do and live in our lives, we're not going to sustain these things in our lives. We will not be doing these things in our lives. So we must keep staying focused and repeating over and over and over again all the things that we want to be surrounded by. A fasting lifestyle means that fasting is part of your lifestyle. It's not something that you do once in oblivion. It's part of your lifestyle. You need to keep that stomach in an empty state as often as possible. As often as you can emotionally feel comfortable, and little by little you expand that discomfort so you can expand the fasting states. And that's all we're doing. We're continuously building and building and building with what? Obstructions. We're building obstructions. The more we eat, the more we obstruct. That's the way it is. It doesn't matter what you eat. All foods are obstructive. And if we're going to eat, when we choose to eat, let's choose the least obstructive foods on this planet for mankind, which is the fruit kingdom. A vast, infinite fruit kingdom. There's who knows how many fruits on this planet. Probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of different varieties of fruit that we don't even know, and probably continuously are being created, because creation doesn't stop. Creation continues creating. That's all it can do, is love and create, give. That's what it does. And if we are built in that image of the Creator, then we are creators as well. And we can do the same. We could create, right? With our volition and emotion, we can create and expand, serve and help. There's much we can do. So much we can do. But mankind has chosen the paths of chaos, destruction, imbalance, and continues on that path of chaos, destruction, imbalance. Just in the last 5 years, after the lockdowns, we see more sickness, more pain, more misery, more imbalance than ever in my lifetime anyway. And probably in the existence of mankind on this planet, for all we know. Could be, maybe there was worse times than now, and we're repeating it. We're going to go back to those states. This is the way it is. Mankind, we've learned that we have not learned from our past, and we continue to do the same things over and over and over again, with all the wars and killing and raping and pillaging and bringing more and more balance to the whole planet. We can do so much with the knowledge that we have now, with creating energy, limitless sources of free energy. Just look around, the wind, the oceans, currents. All this energy is coming from where? Where's that energy coming from? We have to ask. It's a lot of energy. The planet's covered with mostly water, 70% water, whatever that is. And you have all those currents Just, tremendous amounts of energy that we can tap into. Just wind and the currents. And then you have the sun, right? You have the moonlight. The moonlight. You have energy. There's so much abundance of energy, infinite abundance of energy. And they're trying to tell us that, these things are limited. Just like they told us in the 70s with the oil crisis. Fossil fuels. Limited source. They're running out. And they've been pumping more than ever. Now than ever. Since they started, drilling for oil. The Earth continuously makes oil. We've shown that in plasma science. It's two ingredients, air and salt, water, right? You can make fat, the oils. So, we've been led a lot of hogwash. Pretty much everything we've been taught is hogwash. There's a little bit of truths here and there, and you have to learn how to filter out. And how do we filter that out? Well, we get into our fasting state, our natural state, so that we are able to see. Because when we're obstructing, when we're eating, we really can't see properly. We're blinded. We are blinded. We are, there's a fog. There's a haze. Or curtain, complete curtain. If we're really obstructed, there's a complete curtain and we're shut off from seeing anything. If we pay attention to children, they're looking at things and seeing things. They're looking at energy sources that we can't see. When we're children, we're able to see a whole bunch of things, and then we're shut down. We are shut down from believing in those things, and we're put into the dense, heavy 3D state, continuously obstructing ourselves, right? As we continue to obstruct ourselves, these fogs and hazes and curtains, they become abundant and we can't see anything. And then we're fed all this fiction world, 3D fiction world that's been made up with theories and opinions. And this is where the state we're in. So how do we change all that? Well, we go ahead into our fasting state. We, train ourselves emotionally. We must use our divine volition and emotion. Divine, it has to come from divine source. If it doesn't come from divine source, it's only going to be chaos. It has to come from divine source. All our thoughts, our actions must come from divine source, or we will move into the direction of chaos, imbalance, destruction. How do we know that? Well, look at mankind, where we're at. Look at what mankind continuously does with all the war and killing and pillage, raping, pillaging. So, purge, start seeing, start dealing with all the emotional traumas we carry from our ancestral and our current life. We carry all that, all intertwined. That's what makes us. We are all part of our ancestors, which are part of the divine source, the one source. We can't separate. We are all one. So everything that's happening around the planet, we are all part of that. We are all responsible for that. So how do we change it? Well, we do our part. Go within, get into our natural fasting state. We're able to see. We're able to build little by little, feel comfortable in that natural fasting state. As we release, we're going to feel more and more comfortable. The more we obstruct, the more uncomfortable we're going to be. The more stimulants, the more obstruction, the more uncomfortable we're going to be. It's just a matter of time before the laws of cause and effect will catch up to us. We can't escape those. So let's stay focused. Let's stay focused. Clean those bowels. Clean that GI tract. From the mouth to the anus, we need to keep that pathway free, as obstruction free as possible. If we can get it to an almost a complete obstructive free state, then you see how the energy comes through at a rate that we cannot comprehend. And this is why, we state over and over, in the dry state, we must not stay bedridden. We must move. We must, if we have to force ourselves a little to move, we need to move. As we move, the energy comes on to play. The more we eat, the hungrier we get. The more we drink, the thirstier we get. The more we sleep, the more tired we get. Movement in the natural fasting state is the key and the basis of the glorified master fast, which is the natural dry fasting state, the glorified dry state. How do we come to learn all this? Well, through many experiences, and through many other people's experiences. Just listen to people living in the natural state. It's so simple and straightforward. We all came to the same conclusions in all different parts of the world. People living in the natural state, the natural fasting state. The fasting state is the natural state. The eating state is not the natural state. When people are fighting over diets, all diets lead to death. Diets. All diets lead to death. So we must train ourselves, change our belief systems. We have to train and change our belief systems to continuously purge and cleanse, and understand that there's limitless sources of energy that we can tap into. Limitless sources of energy that we can tap into. They're everywhere, all around us. We must believe that, or we're not going to live a fasting state lifestyle. We're just not going to do it. And that's why, we fall into the trap of socializing with all the people that we, are used to being with, in our day-to-day lives and our working lives or whatever, our social lives, and if we don't want to let that go, if we feel too comfortably in the misery, pain, misery, and suffering state, comfortable, we're going to stay in that state. We're going to continue doing those things, and the fasting lifestyle state will drift away from us. And then when we feel that we're in a very obstructive, poor pain, misery, and suffering state, oh, we're going to remember about, oh, I can fast and fix myself. Whereas it's always there. That's the state to stay in as much as we possibly can so that we can avoid all the pain, misery, and suffering. But, we want to eat. Yeah, okay, we understand that. Everybody likes to eat. The experiences of preparing the food, cooking the food, and being and eating with people. It's a wonderful experience because all cultures do that, right? You know, cuisines, cultures, it's heavy ingrained in people's lives. And people can't understand that all that has been programmed into us as a belief system to keep us enslaved. So when we choose to eat fruitarian, that's what we suggest, stick to fruits as much as possible. In the summer, abundance of fruit, abundance. If we have winters, heavy winters, cold winters, you're not going to have as abundance fresh fruit, but it's still possible to do. In the greater TO, we have fruit from all over the world, all year round. Is it the best quality? No, doesn't matter. We look for the best we possibly can, the most ripe we possibly can. We smell, we feel, we look at it. We feel the energy of it, and if it resonates, we choose that fruit. We don't just pick any fruit for the sake of it. Um, you know, if they're not looking, somewhat ripe, don't waste your time. If there's nothing absolutely ripe, we could go to frozen. We could. Not the best, but we could. There's lots of frozen berries. They're picked more ripe and then flash frozen. We could cook our fruit. All mammals eat. Why are humans different? Richard, how you doing, Richard? All mammals eat. Absolutely, all mammals eat because humans eat. It's weird. I believe the whole animal kingdom is a reflection of mankind. It puts it right in our face. We're seeing reports of animals going carnivorous that are not carnivorous. It's happening now. Squirrels and different primates and so on and so forth. It's happening more and more and more often. Why are these things happening? Well, you have to ask ourselves exactly that question. Why are these things happening? I believe it's a reflection of mankind, of humanity. I've been saying this for decades, that the animal kingdom is a reflection of humanity. So, if that's the case, if we continuously eating other living beings, then the animal kingdom is going to continue eating each other. It's not going to stop. The only way the lion's going to lay with the lamb is for mankind to get into a different state, meaning moving into our natural fasting state of non-eating, or as close to, the fruitarian not eating into those two states, because the trees are willingly giving the fruit. We drop it from the tree. If we get into those states, we are going to be moving closer to the lion laying to the lamb. That's what I believe. Everybody can believe whatever they want, and people will believe whatever they want, right? Ella, hello, hi Gino. I feel hungry on fruits. What to do? It's not hunger, Ella. These are false hungers. The only way to rid ourselves of these hungers is to purge out all those emotions through fasting lifestyle and feed ourselves, nourish ourselves with things that are nourishing and satisfying. And what are these things? They're certainly not coming from food. We need to satisfy our emotions. Once we satisfy our emotions, we are going to satisfy our physical nourishment. Just, it's that simple. When we were children playing outside, you know, our parents had to, you know, yell at us to come inside to eat. You know, we'd be playing for hours and hours and laughing, you know, and just enjoying ourselves doing what we would love to do at that time in our childhood. You know, just nobody was thinking about food and drinking. So we had to be programmed into that state. We had to be programmed that we need to eat over and over and over again. That was driven into us. And that's where the hunger comes from. It's a program. False hunger. So if we feed our emotion, we nourish our emotion, you're not going to be hungry. So you just do the things that you love to do. Keep yourself busy. Move. Go out in nature and move. Do things that you love to do. And you'll be surprised at the limitless energy sources out there. Food is the lowest form of energy. Now, as we say, if we're going to choose to eat, we eat for fun, right? We choose to eat, we love to eat. Let's eat the least obstructive things on this planet. Physically eating is fruit kingdom. There's nothing that comes close to the fruit kingdom, in my opinion, for, you know, obstructiveness. If we look at the obstructive value of all the foods that we can eat, the most dense, heavy are your proteins and fats. Fats first, proteins, heavy proteins. So that would include animal products, of course, it would be the heaviest. And then the plant kingdom, the same thing, fats and proteins, those are the heaviest in the plant kingdom. So we minimize those because those are the foods that will make us the hungriest. The ones they say that are most nourishing are the ones that will give us the most hunger. You know, more we drink, more thirsty we get. More we eat, more hungry we get. So we choose the things that are least obstructive. And it's going to take time to be in a state that we're comfortable in a light, free flowing energy state. It's going to take time to get comfortable in that state because we're going to feel in a very high energetic lightness state. We're not going to feel what's grounded, as people say. We're not going to feel that grounded feeling, that heavy grounded feeling. We're not going to feel like that. We're going to feel light and airy. And the reason for that is because we have limitless sources of energy that we could use. So we need to use that energy. If we're just going to sit on a desk for 24 hours, and you're never going to be able to service that hunger. Nourish that hunger by doing the things you love, by breath work, the Buteyko type of breathing. We've been advocating that for a long time, decade. Breathing less, eating less, drinking less, moving more, serving more, giving more. In this realm, in the mass fast realm, we're doing pretty much the opposite of everything we've been taught and continuously being bombarded to do. We're continuously being bombarded to obstruct, eat, consume, and we're in this realm. We're doing the opposite. We're purging, giving, and moving. Rest is the other thing. You need so many hours of rest. You need so many glasses of water. You need 3 meals a day. No, not in my opinion. Everybody can and will do whatever they want, and you're free to do whatever you want. My opinion is that of the opposite of what we've been taught from my 35 plus years, 3.5 plus decades of living in a fasting lifestyle. For all this time, fasting is, I cannot let go of a fasting lifestyle. It's just part of me. I made the decision 35 plus years ago, and it's staying with me. It's not going away. I understood it back then. I understood that had to be part of the lifestyle. So that's why I continuously stay in that lifestyle. Richard, many people do much better on animal-based diets than on plant-based. Yeah, because their belief system and it's stimulant-based, and they believe the stimulants make them feel better because the stimulants give you that boost. They get sick on plant-based and get well on animal-based. Why is this if the animal foods are more obstructive? They're stimulants. They're stimulants. There's a price for everything, as I was saying earlier. The law of cause and effect, you can't escape. What the animal high protein, high fat based diets do to the body, we can't escape that. Yeah, you're going to feel the stimulation from those foods and that heavy, dense, nourishing feeling. If you want to be in that heavy, dense, carnal state, you can do that, and many people are moving into that state, and this is why we're seeing omnivorous animals are turning into more carnivorous, and even fruitarian animals turning carnivorous. It's a reflection of mankind. So you have that choice. You can go that route and believe whatever you like. I'm not one of those belief systems. If you want to eat animal-based products, you have free will to do that. As everybody that's doing it does, right? Everybody can do whatever they like. If I eat animal products, it's a very strange feeling in my body, because I've been without them for so long. It's a very strange feeling. And as stimulating, anything that's stimulating for me, I don't do well on. I do well on no food. I do best on no food. I do far superior on no food. But when you go through phases of eating, you're not going to be doing well on no food. We need to be in a low obstructive state, right? The GI tract has to be empty to reap the rewards and benefits of a fasting state, to be able to absorb the limitless sources of energy. Yeah, in the last 5 years, the animal-based diets have skyrocketed because we are moving more into the lower, heavier, denser war state of the planet. As you can see, there's wars happening everywhere. The more we move into the eating those, contributing to more killing, the more we're going to see more wars and destruction and raping and pillaging and robbing. It's just the way it is. It's everybody can believe whatever they want. That's my belief system. Ella, in the belly, full belly. Yeah, I know. We want to feel that fullness, right? Right, Ella. We want to feel that fullness, and that's what we attribute to not being hungry. So when you get used to that light, airy feeling, and you're, doing 10 times more things because you have so much energy, you will forget about that false hunger. That's the way it is. Those false hungers will go away. Um, back in the days of 108 days, when we were all doing the 108 days, so many people, complaining about this hunger. And then, every single one, we just advocate, just keep going, keep going, keep going. They all went through the same scenario. Those hunger feelings went away in a fasting state. They went away. If it was true hunger, why would it go away? You have to ask yourself that. So I ask myself that and I say, because it's not hunger, it's false hunger. That's the answer I come up with. Maybe you can come up with a different answer, but that's the answer I came up with. And it works for me because I've been at this for so long and it works every time. So that hunger state, that full belly feeling, heavy, uh, dense, heavy, grounded state is the false state. And that's where mankind is moving to, as we see. And keep people continuously asking about that state because that's the state that's being programmed into us more now than ever. If you noticed, it's really the social media is really heavily moving toward the animal-based diets more than ever. Um, uh, but if you look at studies, all the studies, if you look at, now they're being corrupted and manipulated. As a lot of stuff's been uh, deleted from the internet. I don't know if you guys have noticed in the last 5+ years. A lot of stuff's been eliminated from the internet. But it's all the studies that I've seen growing up 35+ years. All of them showed plant-based diets outperformed in people having less disease. Period. Vegetarian, less than animal-based products, and veganism, less than vegetarian and animal-based products. So veganism for me is fruitarianism, not tofu and all the gourmet stuff people do and all the cooked stuff. Fruitarianism is a true veganism, if you want to put veganism. There's no such thing as veganism, but I interpret veganism as a fruitarianism, plant-based diet, basically, which is fruitarianism in my interpretation. That's what I interpret it as, because the whole concept of veganism is not to harm any other living being. The only way you can do that is the closest thing to that is fruitarianism, because consuming plants, vegetation, you're eliminating life forms. There's going to be bacteria and bugs and everything on on the fruit. So you cannot be a true vegan as a vegan no matter what. You're going to consume bacterias and maybe some bugs and whatever, and worms that are in the fruit, whatever. So it's not possible to live 100% ideology veganism. But the concept of veganism is doing as least harm. That's the way it should be. Doing the least harm, not no harm, doing the least harm you possibly can to other living beings. Even just walking and breathing, we're breathing in bacteria. You can't escape. Stepping on things, we're stepping on bugs and stuff. It's just so. Veganism is fruitarianism in my best ability to give a definition. Because the stomach becomes smaller, it's like a muscle hurting when no food inside, but when smaller, pain of hunger disappears. Exactly, because the plasma vacuum tube, which is the digestive tract from the mouth to the anus, is absolutely not designed for consuming food in my understanding. It's for converting energy plasmatically through the fields. The fields meaning the energy we don't see. That's what the GI tract is for. And the stomach, it's the size of our fist is the natural state. That's it. Size of our fist. What's that? An apple? A mango? That's it. That's the size of our stomach. But we can stretch it and stretch it and stretch it. If you look at these mukbang guys and people eating all this food, if you look at the amount of food they eat, it's like they're making their stomach expand tremendously. I don't know how they're doing it. It's feeding itself, and they're surviving. A lot of people are dropping dead doing that. I don't know if you have been paying attention. I watch these things a little bit, and people are dropping dead and doing these mukbang eating contests and so on and so forth. Very dangerous. So, like I said, everybody can believe whatever they want. We know that we put the body in a fasting state. The body, everything goes back into balance. Everything heals. Everything, magically just heals. The most horrific states people have been in just heal. So yeah, people want to believe that eating animal-based products are gonna fix them up. It's addictive. They're addictive foods. We want to have all the reasons and excuses to do those things and be good with it. But if we look at the spiritual aspects, solely on the spiritual aspect of things, of consuming other life forms, then you come to the realization that you cannot continue to lie to ourselves. We can't continue to lie to ourselves. But people will continue to lie to themselves, to continuously consume other living beings, right? It's just the way it is. Belief system is something that you cannot force people to change. People have to change their belief systems on their own volition. And with that said, if there's any last questions, I'm going to call it a day. We'll see you back on the page. See you back on next call Wednesday, Facebook Live. Thanks for joining. Thanks for asking the questions. That's what we're here for. Go inwards and ask yourself these questions. We can continuously lie to ourselves, or we can know what the truth is. It's straight in our face. You know, is killing kosher? Is killing just? Ask yourself these questions. Is it okay to continuously kill other living beings? And you'll have your answers. If for you that's okay, well, that's the state that we're being pushed very hard to believe and to be in that state. And once we're in that state, they can make us believe anything they want us to believe, and that's how they're going to control everybody. That's how they're controlling everybody. So with that said, Korean barbecue is enormous. Several kind of meats in it. Yeah, all cultures pretty much. There's a few cultures that were vegan and vegetarian. A few cultures, but there are out there. So send out Plaf and live it, love it, make it happen. If it is to be, it is up to me, as they say. Ciao.